Starting on YouTube. Okay, I think that we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another Moonshire Monday. Let me try and get my camera a bit more adjusted. Hopefully it's not too quiet when I have my mic this far away. That looks good. Hi, everyone. We got a bunch of people in chat already. Let me go ahead and say hi. We got Defected. We got O, Daryl, Dragon Rex, Ravy, Seacat. Thank you all for joining. I really appreciate you being here. We got Crown Sheep. We got Hesa, Yolvin, Loggy. Awesome turnout as always. Thank you again for being here for Moonshire Monday. C-Night on Twitch. Wartaz, Devious Penguin. Ooh, the scary penguin. How do you keep track of coding in large projects in Love 2D? It's a good question. And in general, so my code has a lot of files. Like if I go through this game I'm working on and I go to the source section, there's so many Lua files that exist in this game. And it's organized by folder, but even then, like this enemies folder, it has like 15 files in it. It is a lot to keep track of, I'll admit. But what helps is, I talked about this last stream too, is that I do a lot of Control P and then just searching for it. So if I want like my enemy move code, I can just type in enemy move and then there it is. So the organization through like the code organization over here isn't super important. It's mainly more important that I have every file identified very clearly what it's supposed to be, and then I can just search for it. So all the enemy code is organized into a specific like enemy animation. We got the defaults, draw, enter. So whatever it is that I need to like mess with or work on, I can just search for that and then it'll come right up. We got Kaya. Yeah, I make games. Yeah, I make games. Vishnu, Devious Penguin. Oh, I already said Devious Penguin. I do like that name a lot. VS Code search bar is the hero here. Yeah, I completely agree. I don't even use this sidebar really anymore. I do it if I can't remember the name of a file, I guess. But the vast majority of times when I'm like opening up a new file, it's using Control P. It's just too good. It's hard to break that habit. Which I mean, I don't know. I think it's a good habit to get into. So one thing I wanted to point out is that last stream I talked about how I was going to make the music bot play on both Twitch and YouTube, and it's struggling. I need to turn the music off of my game. There we go. So I'm having trouble getting the bot to work on both Twitch and YouTube. So it's just on Twitch at the moment, but the music's still playing. The bot just tells you what the title and artist is. Ghost Hack, Nikki, Retromech, Axobottle. How am I doing today? I'm doing pretty good. I'm actually kind of tired because the last 2 nights I got less than like 5 hours of sleep, and then last night I got a full 8 hours and my alarm went off. I'm like, oh, I would love to sleep in and just catch up a little bit more. Did I watch Pirate Software short about comments? It's the 4th latest video. No, I haven't. That sounds interesting. Past, welcome in. Let's go ahead and watch that. That sounds good. I'm gonna go ahead and pause the music while I pull it up. Well, I need to pull up the video first. Pirate Software. You said it was about comments. Let's check it out. I do like Pirate Software. Comments. Here we go.
There's 2 types of comments, right? Like, we'll do this. I'm going to show you 2 types of comments here. We're going to do a comment that says, this set's unbreaking to 1. This is a shit comment. Do not do this comment. This is a bad comment. Instead,
Whoa.
we set on breaking here because this item will disappear otherwise when used. That's a good comment.
Well, so he's saying that the comment needs to explain what the code is doing, not what the code is. So his first comment that says this sets unbreaking to 1, that doesn't help at all, because like clearly unbreaking is being set to 1. But his point is that it's way better to make a comment that actually explains why you're doing what the code is doing. Because like anyone who's reading this can see, oh yeah, unbreaking is being set to 1. But the question is why? Why is that important? And yeah, that's really good advice, because
that's a good comment.
I mean, other people are going to be reading your code, and they know how to code already.
Not what is it doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Not just what. Why? Why is the important part?
Okay, perfect. I completely agree with that video. That's absolutely how I do comments as well. Unless like the code itself is unclear. Like if I had a really complicated function or a really complicated loop that it's not really clear what it's actually achieving, then sure, I can make literal comments. But in general, his advice about explaining why the comment is there and what it's actually trying to achieve, rather than specifically what the code is doing. It's good we're working on a team. Yeah, so like if I look at my comments, I have plenty of comments in my code. It probably could be better, but you can see I add comments all the time, even in this file. So like I call this function called n proximity check, and I have this little comment here that tells me that this function proximity check also triggers the next action. And that's something I wouldn't know. In fact, I still don't, I didn't know that it did that. But this comment reminded me of it. And if I go to proximity check, where would this be? See, the problem is I need to find where this function is defined. It's probably in defaults, proximity check, attack, action. Here it is. Here it is. So proximity check, it says that it does start the next action. So in this other file, where it says triggers next action for certain intents, I didn't realize that, but it is good that that comment's there because it reminded me. Keep it up with your game, mate. Really though, your game is pretty impressive for making in Lua, and you've even convinced me that I should try Love 2D someday. Yeah, I think it's worth trying out. I think it's worth trying out most game engines and most frameworks, just because you never really know what's going to stand out to you and what you're going to like. I just saw ads as YouTube forced. Yeah, I think that there are some ads enabled on YouTube, because I realized that when I turned them off, I noticed it just wasn't pushing my stream quite as much. So I do need to have ads turned on YouTube. You're on hydration duty. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, Allfather is going to be skipping stream today. Skipping stream today. And he's the one that always helps me out at hydrate. Have I seen Balatro? It was made with Love 2D. Yeah, I actually have it, and I played it, and I beat it. How many hours? Oh, I have 15 hours on it. That's not as many as I was hoping, but I did complete it. I did beat the game. Or I should say I cleared a run of it, you should say. But I'm very happy that this game exists, and I'm very happy that Love 2D is getting a little bit more push. I think that this is definitely the most famous game that's ever been made with Love 2D. And between you and me, I was hoping that my game would win that title of the most famous Love 2D game, but maybe it will. Maybe it will once it's done, but it's still a ways away. I think Balatro is going to be Game of the Year 2024. I don't think it's going to be 2020, or I don't think it's going to be Game of the Year. It's very, very cool that I got nominated at the Game Awards, but it is up against AAA games, and this is just like a small, like arcadey style game. Again, I'm not dishing this game, or sorry, I'm not bashing this game by any means. I love this game. It's just quite a bit smaller scale and less impressive than something like Black Myth Wukong, which is just like a huge, crazy, awesome game, you know. Shadow of the Erdtree will be Game of the Year. That's another just controversial thing, because you can't play Shadow of the Erdtree on its own. You have to buy Elden Ring. You have to play Elden Ring, and then while you're playing Elden Ring, you're also doing the Shadow of the Erdtree stuff, which, again, I played Shadow of the Erdtree, and I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I would go so far to say that I think Shadow of the Erdtree is better than the base game, because the world design is so crazy and cool. I really, really like Elden Ring and the DLC. Game of the year for a DLC, though. That's a really strange one. Nikki says, game is beautiful, mate. Your demo is the one that convinced me to try Love 2D. And yeah, I can feel that your game is going to be one of the top Love 2D games. Thank you. I sure hope so. I use Godot, but I have so much respect for people who can make games with frameworks. It's a different skill set for sure. Because, Godot has the visual, you can drag and drop some stuff, and that has like the sidebar where you can click properties. It's so convenient. It has so many built-in things that make it just a joy to work with. The drawback is that since it does so much stuff for you, a lot of that is invisible to you, so maybe you wouldn't fully understand exactly how everything's working. That's not important in a lot of cases, and you're able to get more work done faster by working with an engine. But I really like Love 2D. I like working with a framework. I know that if there's a bug that comes up, I can just search specifically for the correct file and then go there. It's really easy for me to debug, is what I'm getting at. Prosto, welcome in. What game is Super Meat Boy? Oh, that's a game by the guy who made Binding of Isaac. It was on Xbox Arcade back in what year was that? 2010, maybe even earlier than that. And it's like a little platformer, but Super Meat Boy is that's a classic. It's an old school indie game. How many? I actually don't have very much time on this. I think I played it. I must have played it on Xbox because I only have 33 minutes. It says on Steam. Yeah, and only one achievement. Yeah, I haven't played it very much on Steam. I played it more on Xbox. Lua Monday. Forgot it's Lua Monday. Yeah. I've been doing really good about being consistent with these streams. Can you make multiplayer games in Love 2D? Yeah, absolutely. So any engine for sure can make like local multiplayer, but I assume you're talking more about online stuff. And yeah, it can. So I haven't showed it because it's still in progress, but I did get the let's see, I'll show it. This thing where you can invite your friends and connect with your Steam. Let's see if it might still work. It's buggy, but oh yeah, it doesn't work. But I had it working at one point. Basically, what this is meant to do is that at some point, once multiplayer is fully supported in my game, you'll be able to see your list of friends on Steam, and then click on their name, and then it'll send them an invite, and then they can join your game, and then it connects your two clients. So I got through the work of the tricky technical side, actually connecting the clients together and making it so that you can render like your Steam friend list. It's not showing it right now because I have it bugged, but I think you get the idea. I got the process of connecting the two clients together. The part that I need to work on is making it so that they can actually play together, because just because two clients are talking to each other, like, you need to be able to see each other in the same game world. You need to be able to interact with each other and see the same enemies. Everything needs to be in the exact same state. Multiplayer games online is very tricky. It's something I've actually never even attempted before. Modley, welcome in. Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm not, like, nothing's confirmed. I'm not actually going to, like, make any announcements about multiplayer, but it's something that I'm working on. I do think that it's going to work, though, because the part that I was worried about is connecting two clients together. So in order for people to play multiplayer together, there needs to be a host and there needs to be a client. And the other hard part is that connecting two clients together means that you need to kind of know each other's IP address, which isn't really a secure thing to do. Like, I'm not going to say, okay, if you want to play together, figure out your IP address and then give it to your friend, and then they'll manually put it in, and then you'll connect your computers together. That's something that I don't want to do. So what happens is when two clients connect together, they both connect through Steam. Steam offers this relay system where you can connect two clients together by having both of them connect to Steam, and then Steam obfuscates that connection process, and then you can like connect to each other through Steam. It's so nice. It's awesome that they offer that service. And that's one of the reasons why Steam, I think, deserves the like 30% pay cut, is that there's just so many things, so many services that Steam offers that makes game development more smooth. Because if Steam didn't offer that relay system, I would have to like pay for my own hosting server to offer a relay service myself, and that would be expensive and unreliable, and like people could DDoS it and be annoying. And if no Steam involved, yeah, if Steam's not involved with this, I wouldn't be able to accomplish any sort of multiplayer because they're handling the relay. I could handle it myself. I could probably figure it out, but the hassle and the amount of things that could go wrong is just so high. So Steam offering that themselves makes it so easy. And also, it's nice that, like, once I have this working, you'll be able to, like, just load your Steam list of Steam friends and click on their name and join a game that way. Yeah. And what's wrong with sharing IPs? You shouldn't share your IP address with anyone, even your friend, because you don't really know who's on the other end of, like, your Discord chat. So when you're talking to your friend on Discord, or like chatting with them or texting them, you don't really know that it's them. And I learned that the hard way when I got hacked this year, because I thought I was talking to my friend, but I was actually talking to a hacker who hacked their account. So it said it was them, but it wasn't actually them. And if I would have handed them my IP address and connected our clients together, that just opens me up to so many security risks. It's not something that you should really do. If you and your friend are in the same room, there's no risk there. That's fine. But it's just using a relay service like Steam is going to cut all of that out. There's way less risk. So yeah, that's kind of what it comes down to. I hope you could try Godot sometime later in the near future. I would love to see a video of you using Godot. Yeah, I would love to do that too, because I've never used it. I've watched plenty of videos. I know all about it, but I've never used it personally. I get a feel for what it's like, and it doesn't look that much different from something like Udemy, or not Udemy. It doesn't look that much different from something like Unity, and I use Unity plenty. I know that Godot is more on like the node system. You can become famous now. Got anyone on Twitch? Not really. I'm on Twitch right now, so the stream is multi-streamed on YouTube and Twitch. But yeah, I have more of an audience on YouTube just because that's where I post my videos. Which, by the way, I need to get back on track with posting videos. I've been spending so much time working on the game and no time working on videos. With all the skills you have, I think learning Godot isn't going to be a hard challenge. I agree. I think that if I learned Godot, it would be very quick. But it's the same with any game framework or any game engine. Once you know one of them, learning another one is very easy because they're all very similar. Like if you know Love 2D, switching to like Monogame is very easy because they're super similar. Or Pygame, they're really similar. Defected, thank you so much for the donation. I really appreciate that. That's super kind of you. Oh, can he not see my message trying to get feedback? Blaine? Oh, Blaine, okay. I tried your demo and I really liked it. I got stuck after defeating the lightning boss. I couldn't light the core. I didn't realize you could consume weapons. Yeah, so that's really good feedback, by the way. And thank you for playing the game. I'm glad that you liked it overall. And you are not the only person that got stuck on that core thing. The way that I communicate the mechanics is way different now compared to how it is in the current Steam demo. Because I'm with you. It's really easy to miss some of those key details. It's not obvious that's what you're supposed to do, and I'm going to work on that. And that's the beauty of having a game like as a free demo while it's in development, because people can point out stuff like that to me. It's really important that I am aware of problems like that, because that's something that I wouldn't really know about myself. Water is indeed helpful. If you're talking about my water bottle, thank you, because I need to hydrate more. Did I change the water movement? Not recently, but this has been the final version probably for like a year. But it does look good. I did change how the boats look. I think the last stream that I showed these boats, they were messed up. So the way that these boats look, so you can see that there's a water ripple at the bottom of the boats to make it look like it's in the water. Because I'll just go ahead and show the sprite. So if I go to that boat, it's an animation. So it's an animated loop of this boat's ripple, and if you look really closely at the bottom, you can see the ripple effects. This is a bad way to look at it. Let's look at it in A Sprite. Yeah, this is better. So you can see the black outline around the whole thing, but at the bottom, there's no black outline. Instead, it's an animated ripple of transparency. So like, look at this frame compared to this frame over here. It's slightly different, and it makes that little ripple effect just using the transparency. And then in game, since that transparent ripple is there, it kind of looks like the water's like crashing up against the ship. And that's the way that works. Prosto said, did you ever have any feedback about similar issues? Let's see. About problems. One guy told me that he can't jump. We found his inputs not register correctly. Oh, you mean like problems with people's controller or the way they have their key bindings set up? That is something that I have to be cautious of. But something that's nice is that you can change your key bindings. So you can edit key binds and change any input to whatever else you want. So that helps a lot with preventing issues like that. Because if someone did have an issue where their attack button wasn't working properly, they can just add another one. Like I added P as the attack button. And then now if I press P, whoa. I have P key binded to multiple things. Moonshire plush? That'd be awesome. Well, I already have a Moonshire plush. He pressed space 10 times, but only 7 or 4 or 1 was registered. Well, so that's something to maybe work with buffering. So you said he pressed space 10 times, but only 7 or 4 or 1 was registered. So why wasn't it registered is the question. Yeah, key config dialog and to-do list, but that was general issue. So in my game, I have a queue events. Let's see if I go to player defaults maybe, or player main queue buffer. Yeah, player.buffer. So in my game and in most games, there's a buffer of inputs. So you said that he pressed spacebar 10 times and not all of them registered. And that's true. In my game, it's the same way. If I spam the spacebar, it's not going to make me dodge every single time. Because, like, listen. It's not dodging every single time that I press spacebar. It's only dodging when I'm able to dodge. And even more to that is that if I press space right before I'm able to, it adds that input to this buffer where it gives it like half a second to wait until the last action completes, and then it will execute that action. So if I go down to process buffer, it's going to treat it like a queue and just pull off the latest action and then use it and then do that action. I hope that makes sense, and hopefully that's not spam that is the issue. LoveTG just didn't catch them. I have never had an issue where inputs were just straight up lost. That has not happened in my game, at least. Am I using input buffer for the dash? I'm using input buffer for literally every action that the player can do. Rigorette, been a while. Sup, bro? Welcome in. Appreciate you stopping in. Are you using input buffer for the dash? Oh, I already answered that. Yeah, I am. I don't know where all the Zelda-like games have gone, but I'm so excited that the gameplay style is coming back. I completely agree. I don't know. I mean, Zelda has its influence in lots of modern games. Like, you could argue that Elden Ring is a Zelda-like game. But as far as 2D games, yeah, people aren't really making 2D games like this at all anymore. And I mean, like, that's not necessarily a good or bad thing because 3D games look good. But pixel art is an aesthetic that I really, really love. And the Zelda style of gameplay is something I also really love. So, oh yeah, show my plush. I'll go and get it. One sec. I'm gonna go get my plushie. Snuffy, welcome in. Thank you for joining. Happy to see you, Christian. So, someone was asking about seeing the plushie, and here it is. It's a little Lua plushie. There we go. So, my sister commissioned someone to make that, and it's very cute. And also next to him is an alter ego. Blasphemy. Merch tees are coming. I mean, maybe in like a year, but I'm definitely not doing any sort of merch until the game is actually out. So many nice comments for the plushie and the Shy Guy. Actually, the Shy Guy lights up. Oh, it's hard to see, but he does light up. I got it from this. In the US, we have this store called Five Below, which is a store where everything is $5 or less, which means that everything in there is garbage, trash, junk. But it is really fun to browse through because they have some fun stuff. And that's where I got the Shy Guy. I got it for $5. It looks like an amiibo. Yeah, it kind of does. I have some amiibo. They're on my shelf, but I can't. I don't want to get up again. You can easily paint that Shy Guy to look like your character. Yeah, I think that Shy Guys and my character look maybe a little too similar, but they kind of came from that idea. So I wanted to make a character that had this like hooded look to him, and I looked at Shy Guys as an example because like the hood shape is really similar to what I was going for. And really the whole character is kind of similar. What's my character called? Unofficially, the character is named Lua, but the story behind that's kind of silly. The character is named Lua because the code name for this game while it was in development was Legend of Lua, and when I started letting people play the game, when it was called Legend of Lua, people thought that this character's name was Lua. I called it Legend of Lua just as a joke because all of this code is Lua code. But I think the name sticks. I think the name's good. I thought I came from the Subrosians from the Oracle Zelda games. Oh yeah, I forgot about those characters. Those characters look a lot like mine. I forgot about them because they're literally just like hooded, colorful, wide-eyed characters in that game. I forgot about that completely. How'd you come up with the name Moonshire? I beat my head against the wall until it came to me. That's partially true. Maybe I can pull up... okay, I gotta be careful when I do that. But maybe I can pull up my notes for how I was coming up with the name. Oh my god. Okay, can I show this? I have my brainstorming document. Maybe this is... Yeah, I'll go ahead and show this. but I'm gonna be very careful because I don't want to show too much. Okay, so this is my brainstorming document for the title of the game, and it's very big. Look at all these names that I was considering. There you go. That's how I came up with the name Moonshire. And you can see some of these notes. This is from April 2023. Oh my gosh. Holy cow. So, for a while, long journey, yeah, that's what I'll say. So, for a while, I was considering this name called Lunavale, it looks like, but it was already taken. There's an Insta account that has that name. There's some YouTube accounts. And then with Moonshire, I also had some notes because there's a board game that uses the name Moonshire, but only as like a subtitle. It's not a full thing. And so, oh yeah, and there's another channel actually called Moonshire, but they're like a music streaming channel. It's completely unrelated. So I felt like the name was available. But all of these names, these like, first I came up with a list. These are all words that I just think are cool, like arcane or cosmic, zenith, pinion, shade. These are just like cool words. And when I wrote down all these words, I'm just like, okay, let's start to combine them and make something cool. Suncrest, Sunhaven, Moonhaven, Moonshire. And it looks like this is the first time I actually wrote down Moonshire was right here. And I'm like, okay, let's come up with some suffixes. And I have all these suffixes for what I wanted to name it. So I could have named it like Starcrest or Sun View, Sunwood, Starwood, something like that. And again, here's a bunch of like space-themed words: comet, crescent, equinox, Kuiper, Mars, and it's just like I'm just like typing down all of these words to try and come up with some idea to enter my mind that makes sense at all. I have some constellation names: Argo Navis, Noctua. Ooh, that's a cool word. Doppler goes hard. Yeah, there's some cool words in here. Zodiac, Zenith. I didn't mean to do that. Vernal, Sunspot, Supernova. And then, look, I came up with... I reached the point where I'm like, okay, the name Shire is very cool. Sorry, my phone's going off. I need to turn it off. So I realized, okay, I want to have the word Shire in there. So I have all of these versions of Shire. Dayshire, Oakshire, Stoneshire, Dreamshire, Cliffshire, Darkshire. And I look at... Oh my gosh, look at all these. This is absurd. What does Shire mean anyway? Shire is a word from Lord of the Rings. I think that it just comes from The Hobbit. Lunavale. I think Lunavale is an awesome name. I think that's about as good as Moonshire, maybe? My hair. I blow-dried my hair today, and it's all weird now. But this is how I came up with the name Moonshire, is I just wrote down a bazillion words and started combining them. Suffix. Yeah, basically, prefixes and suffixes. Man, there's so many. Nexus of Prophecy, the Eldritch Citadel, Mythic Realm, the Moonhaven Chronicle. These are cool. Like, any of these sound awesome, really. Avalon's Radiance. Oh, you know what? Actually, these sound AI generated. These actually do sound AI generated, but obviously I didn't use them. What I think I did is I think that I AI generated a bunch of titles, and I just wrote down the ones I thought were cool, but I didn't use any of them. Moonhaven. I think Moonhaven was the closest one that I thought of. But Moonshire is a really good title. Yeah, thank you. I think Moonshire is a good title. But that's the thing, is like I only realized that it was the title to go with after doing all this work. Moonwisk Kingdom, Starfall Kingdom. Oh yeah, this is another brainstorming. It's like, oh, let's come up with a name that has the word kingdom at the end of it. Suncrest Kingdom. Look, don't use Misthaven. There's already a book series with the name Misthaven. Can I ask a 3D question? Yeah, sure. I'll see if I can answer it. I'm not super good with 3D, but Moonshire is unique. I think Moonshire is unique. Well, it is, because if you Google the name Moonshire, it just comes up with my game. So that was the main goal too, is that I wanted it to be unique where people wouldn't confuse it for something else. That was the primary goal. But man, there sure are a lot of names. And so this same process that I'm showing here is exactly how I came up with the name Chalicade too. I don't know if I have that. That would be a really old one. I'm gonna see if I can find it, but I don't think I do. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna see if I can find it, and then I'll give up. I can't find it. I'm sorry, I can't find it. But basically, it was the same thing as what I was just showing, where I was just coming up with tons of prefixes, suffixes, and combining a bunch of cool words together to come up with something new. That's my general way of doing things. By the way, what is your process of recording your devlogs? It's exactly like this. So when it's in this default window size, it's a 1920 by 1080 window. And then I just use OBS, which is what I'm using to stream. I just use OBS to record that specific window. And that kind of handles everything. But the cool part is that I can go to vertical mode. If I go to recording and then go to vertical, it changes the window to this vertical format, and then OBS is able to capture the whole thing. Even if most of the game is off screen, it's still able to capture the off screen content. So OBS is really, really good. Once you finish the game, what are you going to work on? DLC, sequel, or finish the bird game? I would consider working on the bird game. But it's hard to say because it's still like a year away or so. Are you going for a pixel perfect game? No, I am not. There are a lot of drawbacks for doing pixel perfection, and I understand why people are not a fan of mixed pixels. But for example, if I went for pixel perfection, I wouldn't be able to have this great axe, because look, the great axe is angled. So these pixels are not perfect. They are angled pixels, which is not pixel perfection. I'm sure there's, or like, look at the dust at the player's feet. It's a very small particle, but the sprite is growing. It's growing in size, and that's also not pixel perfection. The way that if you look closely at the pedals are going at, or the movement, sorry, I'll just say the movement in general. If the player was moving at pixel perfection, it would be like choppy, because it would be pixel by pixel. But since the player is able to move at a sub-pixel rate, it doesn't look choppy at all. I haven't removed the carpet. Okay, here we go. There you go. They're removed. Now, the carpet is meant to help me practice the mirages, but I haven't removed them yet. You're right. I need to. Who here saw Chalicade's short and then ended up here? Yeah, I'm actually curious about that, because the shorts have more views. And also, by the way, if anyone didn't know, I was big on TikTok before I was big anywhere else. TikTok, I blew up in, when was that? That was like 2022 or something. No 3D question, sad. Someone asked if they wanted to make a 3D, or someone asked if they were going to make a 3D question, and then I didn't see it. How would an enemy move when the y-axis is changing its slope? The answer is very difficult. It's not easy. It's tough. Hydrate. Thank you all, Father. Appreciate that. Any tips for aspiring people who want to start their own devlogs one day? It would be to make them short. It would be to focus more on the game rather than videos. Try keep the video amount monthly maybe, but don't put too much time into it, because that's why I kind of back off a little bit on making videos while I'm finishing up this new update, is because when I make a video, even if it's a 5-minute video, it's literally like 2 or 3 full days of work. It takes a long time for me to make those videos, because when, like, a 5-minute video, for example, I need to write the script, I need to edit the script and make sure that it's concise and good and remove all the bad stuff. I need to record my voiceover audio, which takes me a while because I have a stutter and it takes me a while to record the whole thing. So a 5-minute video recording probably takes me 10 or 15 minutes to record. Then I need to edit that audio. It's probably more like 20 minutes to record, honestly. I need to edit the audio, which takes another so long. I need to put that audio into my video editor. I need to mix that audio with my song that I'm using, and also choosing the song takes a long time too, because I'm extremely picky on what background music to use. Then once I choose the background music, I need to mix it with the voiceover audio so that my voice sits on top of the music, and that takes a long time because, you know, certain songs, they're loud in the middle but quiet at first, so I have to manually mix the song and my voiceover audio so that it's always sounding good. That takes forever, and that's just the audio portion. We haven't even talked about recording the video. Whenever I record video for my game, it takes like 10 takes, because sometimes I'll like, if I'm recording a fight, for example, let's go to a fight. I'm gonna warp over to surface D5. So let's say I want to record this specific fight. The problem is I can make a mistake or something awkward could happen, and the recording gets messed up. Or I should say, I try to show only good stuff in my recordings. So if I show a bug by mistake, or like there's some kind of weird animation jank that's happening, I don't want to know. And if I show something like that in my recording, that means I basically have to start the whole recording over, which is just a nightmare. So all of these clips take a long time to record. Then you gotta edit all those clips into the video in the right order. Sometimes I have IRL clips too. That makes it harder. So I know that I'm just basically complaining about how long it takes to make videos, but all of this to say is that time that you spend working on videos is time spent not working on your game. And I understand that marketing your game is important, but improving your game development skills is more important. Because if it's like your first game or like your second game, it's gonna be hard to show good content in your videos because you're still learning, you're still getting better at it. Like my videos from 5 years ago aren't as impressive as they are today because I have 5 years more of experience developing games. I'm just better. So devlogs aren't the important part. It's just improving your skills at game development. And sure, I think making devlogs is a good strategy. I think that you should post some videos, but keep it simple and make sure that you're not spending too much time making videos as opposed to making games. But you can still make videos, because that's the other thing, is making videos is a skill set on its own. Like that whole process I was going through about recording audio and recording clips, those are skills too. Making good videos, it takes a long time to get good at that, in the same way it takes a long time to get good at making games. So working on devlogs throughout the whole process is great because you can get better at making videos while you're also getting better at making games. It's just, the point I'm getting at is this is all very, very time consuming. if you want to get better at videos, that's great, but it's time consuming to get better at videos. And if you want to get better at making games, that's great, but it is time consuming getting good at making games. So you have to either accept that it's going to be one or the other, or you have to accept that this is a long journey and it's going to take years and years and years of doing the same thing before it starts to pay off. And that's fine. I think that it's fine that it takes like a couple of years of developing games before you feel competent at enough at it that you can start like showing it off in videos. And same with videos. Like the first video you make, the first devlog you make is probably going to be kind of crappy because it's hard to get your voiceover audio sounding good. Like my voiceover sounds really good now, but 5 years ago, look at some of the first recreating Zelda videos. My voice sounds terrible. It sounds terrible in those videos. And the funny part is, it's the same exact microphone that I'm using right now. It's the same microphone in those 5-year-old videos. I just didn't know what I was doing. It takes a lot of practice and skill to figure out how to record audio and make it sound good and mix it into your videos with music so that the whole thing like fits together nicely. It's a skill set. And like any skill, it takes years of practice to get good at it. We all started somewhere. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm getting at. So Loggy, you said you're in my walls. I don't think that you are in my walls. My walls are very thin. I live in an apartment. So if you're in my walls, that basically means that you're just in the apartment next to me. But that's fine. If you're my neighbor, that's cool. Like, come say hi. I'll give you some some of my leftovers and we can share some stories about the complex. I really like your TikTok videos you used to do. Yeah, thank you. I like my TikTok videos too. The reason I stopped posting TikToks is because I stopped using TikTok. Same with shorts. I stopped using shorts. So I used to be a very active like TikTok user where I would actually scroll for a couple hours a day. And, you know, I stopped for multiple reasons. But I like TikTok. I think TikTok is fun to use. But yeah, like I said, I stopped using it. I was wasting too much time on it, and I felt like I was being exposed to so much cringe that I was becoming a cringy person. So I feel a lot better not using TikTok. But the problem is when I'm not using it to make content for my TikTok account, and that's a problem because when I make TikToks, I can post those same TikToks to YouTube. Like they're the exact same videos, maybe with very minor changes, but they're basically the same videos. So I do want to get back into making shorts because I want to make YouTube shorts and also obviously grow on TikTok again. Because I have more TikTok followers than I have anywhere else. I completely abandoned that user base though. It's kind of a shame. Shorts are problematic. I don't know. I mean, yeah, dude, how do you get out of doom scrolling? I'm wasting my time as well with my phone addiction. I've traded one addiction for another. I feel that's so hard. So I stopped using TikToks and shorts because I was just scrolling mindlessly constantly and getting nothing out of it. And I've switched over to audio listening. So I still am addicted to my phone. I'm still addicted to like YouTube and videos and stuff. But what I do is I have the video playing on my phone, but I just close it and put it in my pocket and I listen to it. So I listen to YouTube videos way more than I watch YouTube videos. And you can listen to most YouTube videos and it's still entertaining, but you can't listen to shorts. You can't listen to TikToks. You really need that visual stimulation in order for the video to work. So the switch over to listening to content has been nice because like I'm not looking at a screen. I'm able to do other stuff while I'm listening to it. But I still feel addicted to my phone. I still feel addicted to YouTube. It's actually kind of a problem, I'd say. It's excessive, the amount of time that I have YouTube playing on my phone. Thankfully, it's just like in my pocket playing audio, but that's still distracting. You've listened to a few hundred hours of D&D sessions while coding? Yeah, that's the exact same idea that I'm doing. I'm listening to like Let's Plays or, I don't know, voiceovers or game reviews or something. It's normally game related. So it's just constantly playing stuff like that, and it would be better if I like mixed in some music in there sometimes, or even had some silence or classical music or anything other than listening to like garbage content, because some of the content I listen to on YouTube is just like garbage, mindless nonsense, which is fine. I think it's funny, but sometimes it distracts me. Overall, it is better than like scrolling shorts all day. That is an improvement, I'll say. Hot take: remove comments from videos and the world will be a better place. Yeah, maybe. It depends. So comments on videos used to be really toxic. Like it used to be like a running joke almost that YouTube comments were really toxic, or Twitter. I mean, Twitter's pretty toxic. I don't go on Twitter at all, but YouTube comments I think are pretty pleasant. I haven't had any problems with YouTube comments at all. And I watch a lot of YouTube videos and I browse comments all the time. But, oh, bye chat, you need to go. Bye Snippet, thanks for stopping in. Yeah, it's, whatever the conversation is, it's all about balance. It's perfectly fine to browse shorts and chill on TikTok and scroll through that stuff once in a while. But if it's like multiple hours a day like I was doing, I think cutting that out is for the best. What do I think about AI taking over jobs like programming as well? I think that it will happen eventually, but it'll happen slowly. I don't think that programmers have too much to worry about, because the AI isn't going to take over jobs. Here, I'll rephrase this. I don't think AI is going to take over jobs, but I do think AI is going to be used to supplement those jobs. I think that programmers are going to use AI to make their programming more efficient or better, or use it to bug fix. Because you could say that I use AI in my games because I use GitHub Copilot. If I press enter, like GitHub Copilot is going to give me a suggestion. If I say if, it's going to give me this suggestion for some AI generated code. And that's perfectly fine. Like this line of code that I added will, it breaks this for loop if it doesn't have anything to check for. This isn't necessary, but I use GitHub Copilot to like autofill certain lines, and or a lot of the times I do this. I'll say like player.x equals 50 times player.speed, and then I can say enter, and then GitHub Copilot is smart enough to read this line and realize what player.y should be. It's just going to be the y equivalent. So this is an example of when I use AI a lot, is when I'm doing a calculation for one variable, and then the AI is able to read that and figure out what the calculation needs to be for the other one. And this is a really simple example. It's normally more complicated than that. And the thing about AI is that it's hit and miss. Or as for game names, I did use AI a little bit to help with brainstorming, but it didn't help too much with that. Is that snow in the game? Yeah. There's a bunch of weather. There's snow, there's rain, there is like the nighttime fireflies, then there's the sky area. What engine am I using? It's called Love 2D. It's a really lightweight framework. Would I recommend it for first-time solo dev? If it's your first time doing any sort of game development, I mean, yeah, I think you should download it and see what it's like, because it's free. The whole thing is free. I would recommend trying it, but I would also recommend trying out something like Game Maker or Godot, because those are objectively easier to learn and easier to use. Didn't help at all. Yeah, I understand. Do you mind the Mixels? So like, I think Mixels are fine, as long as it's subtle and not obnoxious. So an example of Mixels is like the snow. The snow is clearly Mixels, because if you look really closely, some particles of that snow is bigger than other particles of that snow. And that's because I just changed the scale. I have the scale set to be somewhat random. So some snowflakes big, some of them are going to be small, and that helps with adding depth to the snow effect. And you could argue that it looks bad, because if you look really closely, some of the snowflakes have full-size pixels and some of them have half-size pixels. And that's something generally you shouldn't do. But it's so subtle and it fits this effect that I think it works fine. You could also say that the axe that I'm wielding, where it's at an angle, you could argue that this is Mixel's because it's tilting the pixels, which is not proper. But again, I don't think it's a problem. As long as it's really subtle, I think Mixels are okay. But when it's obvious that Mixels are there and it's just it can be distracting, so you just gotta be careful with it. Rated by Smalls the Kobold. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the raid. That's awesome. Thank you for joining. How was your guys' stream? You always talk about the axe. I can see how proud you are about it. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? I do like the axe. I also like the great sword. That's another one that I like. You know, I think I like all my weapons, really. I like the boomerang. I like the lightning rod. Oh, that's the other thing. I added this recently where the weapons have physics now where you can push them around. They actually have tangibility. They didn't used to have any sort of tangibility. X-Fop says such an axe. Yeah, I agree. So here's a topic that I would like people's opinions on, is the control scheme that I'm going for in this game. So I have changed the control scheme so many times. And it's, do I have a dedicated pickup button? So I changed it recently where you can dodge into stuff and that picks it up. And I think that's actually kind of cool. What do you guys think? Do you think it makes sense that if I roll into a weapon, it auto picks it up? Because if that's the case, I might be able to make this game in a way that you don't need a dedicated pickup button. You just make it so you roll into the item and then it picks it up. E for pickup, yeah, a dedicated pickup button is fine. But if I could somehow make this game where I don't need a dedicated pickup button, that'd be... The ability to dodge attacks in critical situations, also being able to swap my weapon mid-fight. Yeah, so that's part of what's worrying me, is that if I don't have a dedicated pickup button, there's always the risk that someone might accidentally roll into something and pick up a weapon when they didn't want to. It feels awful, not gonna lie, and that's what I'm worried about. I do think people are going to have a problem with, like, they're in the middle of a big chaotic fight. Maybe there's a bunch of weapons lying around on the ground, and I'm like dodging around. I'm flying around, I'm doing crazy shit, and then I accidentally roll into the axe and then I pick it up, and that's not what I wanted to do. I don't want people to accidentally do stuff that they don't want to do, but at the same time, I want it to be easy and simple and obvious. And like being able to roll into the lightning rod to pick it up, it's like it is really convenient. It's nice, but also I do worry about it not working out. I'm in favor for less. So McFamily says I'm in favor of less buttons. Makes it more friendly to bad players, kids, and disability too. That's exactly what I'm thinking, and it's like the simplicity is good for even the settings, because the more keys I have, the more of these like line items I need to have. If I add a pickup button, which I did have a pickup button for a long time, I would have to add it to this list, and it would be yet another thing to keep track of. And like you're saying, kids or bad players or any sort of complexity, if I can remove that complexity, that's gonna be a good thing. But also, I don't want people to accidentally do things that they don't want to do. Rolling with the spear and tossing it as you finish the dash would be sick. That would be cool if it's like something like you roll and then you attack and then it does some kind of like dash throw or something like that. I do love that idea. And having some kind of dash attack would be really neat. I don't have that right now, but I think that would fit into the game really nicely. Why not make it a setting? I can make it a setting, but the problem is I want to encourage players to play in a simple way. Pippa, hi, welcome in. I understand, like, that's a common response whenever I'm asking these questions is just make it a setting, just make it optional. And for a lot of things, yes, that's true. But then the question is, which one should be the default? is sure, I can make everything optional, but which one should be the default? Because that's the one that the vast majority of people are going to be doing. So that's more of the question. Maybe double press a roll to pick it up. These ideas are so good, but the problem is I've already tried these ideas. I think double press to pick it up, I think that was in the Steam demo for a while. I think it was, because Wolf suggested the double press to pick up and drop for a while. But the problem with double press is it's not intuitive enough. It feels a little awkward and a little bit like, it's like I can't think of another game where they do that, is what I'm getting at. And I think it's important to be unique and do unique things, but if it's unintuitive... So here's the other idea that I was working with. So let's say that dodge is the way that you pick up weapons. And like, that's the way you do it. Now the question is, how do you drop weapons? Because you can't just... And I made it so that you can't dodge into other weapons while you're already carrying something. So that helps with not accidentally doing something. It's like, I don't want to accidentally roll into this sword when I'm already wielding the lightning rod. There's no need for it. So the question is, how do you drop? And in this current version of the controls, I made it so that if you dodge while you're standing still, that's what drops it. So you can dodge into stuff to pick it up. So you stand still, dodge in place, and that's what drops it. I like this. I like the simplicity, but the problem is, I think people are accidentally going to trigger that. I think that too many people are going to accidentally drop their weapons if I make it so that dodging in place drops your weapon. Like, I think most people won't have a problem with it, but I think enough people are going to accidentally drop their weapon by dodging that it's going to make them so angry that they'll leave a negative review and they'll be done. Even though personally I like this, I've been playing a lot with this dodge in place to drop, and it's never happened to me. But also, I'm the developer, so I'm biased. I know exactly how to play it. I care more about what regular people think. And I'm kind of worried that people are going to accidentally drop their weapon and they're going to get mad about it. I'd hate it. Yeah, I think a lot of people would hate it. I think less people would hate a pickup button, which is unfortunate. I really wanted to make it so simple that you only need an attack button and a dodge button. That's the only controls you need. That'd be so nice. But I just don't think I can make it so you can pick up and drop weapons and dodge and attack with only 2 buttons. I think I do need a 3rd button. It's really unfortunate. I'm gonna keep thinking about it, and I'm open to any ideas for how I could do this. I just don't know. Another question is, how far in development are we realistically? Are we expecting no other interactables in the game ever? No doors? So it's not... Oh, sorry. I should finish your question. Or, no doors, no chests, no NPCs, no secret gems. Are they all going to find a way to fit the dodge button? So to answer that question is, you can interact with stuff using the... Shoot, where was it? Using the attack button. So even though the attack button does your attack, you use that same button to like talk to people. You use that same button to open chests because like there's a chest over here. So the attack button is also the interact button, but the only reason why that's okay is because interactable things don't exist in combat. You can't talk to people in combat, and you can't open chests while you're in combat. So the attack button being the interact button is perfectly acceptable. That's how it is in a lot of classic games, is that the attack button is the interact button, and that's definitely not a problem. The problem is, I need to have the pickup not be interactable, because you need to be able to pick up and interact with stuff. Oh, what the heck happened? Is my stream still going? Okay, good, it is. My browser crashed. That was weird. So combat is a different state. Yeah, basically combat is a different state. But since weapons need to be interactable mid-combat, that makes it a little bit more difficult. So let's drop, I'll drop a torch. So the torch is here. And by the way, the other thing I wanted to change is make it so that you heal by actually slapping a weapon. So, and you know what? That's also up in the air, you know? I had this thing in my game for a long time where you sacrifice weapons by like shooting it upwards and then it healed you. But I think it makes a little bit more sense if you heal by like the weapons on the ground there and you heal by just smacking it with your sword and then it explodes. Like that feels a lot more intuitive than some strange, like, self-sacrificing, shattering skill. I feel like we're trying to reinvent the wheel just to not have a universal interact button, to be honest. Yeah, I do agree with you. I am really stretching my brain to try and make this work when the obvious solution is just to have a dedicated button for it. And it's nice knowing that I can always fall back on that. And at the moment, I do think that having a dedicated interact pickup button is a better option. But I'm still gonna try. I'm still trying to find some way to make this work that is objectively better. Because, like, if I just stick to the format of typical, like, adding an extra button for all this extra stuff, like, that's fine. But I like trying to be a little bit unique. I like trying to achieve something new here. In one of my recent videos, I talked about Kirby Air Ride. How Kirby Air Ride is a racing game where there's only one button because acceleration happens automatically. So you're always accelerating. You use the A button to brake, but the brake button also charges you up and boosts you. So the uniqueness and how Kirby Air Ride achieves like this really, really good gameplay with only one button, it's amazing. It's so simple and it's awesome. And I really, really wish I could achieve the same sort of idea with my game. I'm so close. It's like really, really close. If weapons couldn't be picked up and dropped, then I could do it. But the only reason I need a pickup button is so you can pick up and drop weapons. It's so annoying. The other thing I'm comparing this to, Sakurai is a mad genius man, totally is. Absolutely agree. Another Kirby example, let's use Kirby as an awesome example. So let's say that let's pretend like this game is Kirby. And I'm playing as Kirby right now, and then I pick up the greatsword, and now I'm greatsword Kirby. And you play as greatsword Kirby for as long as you want, but even in the Kirby games, you can get rid of your copy ability. You can drop your copy ability and go back to regular Kirby and pick up a different copy ability and use that one instead. And the way that Kirby does it is there's a dedicated drop button. The copy abilities come from like sucking in the enemies, but to get rid of your copy ability, the Kirby games have a dedicated drop button that drops your copy ability. It's one single button, and the only thing it does is it drops your copy ability. So I could do the same thing with this game, where dodging into weapons picks it up, or like spot dodging next to weapons picks it up, but I have a dedicated button somewhere that drops it. Because I'm not as worried about people accidentally picking up weapons, because I think there's no scenario where picking up a weapon is bad. I think that if you're playing as a character that doesn't have a weapon and you dodge into a weapon, you always want to pick up the weapon. But dropping a weapon, if that happens by accident because of the controls, that's a huge problem. Like, can you imagine playing Kirby and you accidentally drop your copy ability? That would be so annoying. And with my current setup, it's too easy to accidentally drop your weapon. That's the problem. And instead, why not make it so that if you're stood still and press the dodge button, you swap to the button you stood next to? That way you need to be stood still and near a weapon. Well, that's what I mean is, so swap the weapon, sorry, not the button. So I'll show you. I think it's already set up that way, actually. So if I have the spear here, whoops, oh no, Oh, come on. I broke the game. I accidentally pressed a button and I broke the game. Okay, let's try this again. So let's have the spear right here. And let's spawn the greatsword right here. So with the dodge button, there's two actions you can do. You can dodge, or you can like do a roll if you're moving, or if you're standing still and you press dodge, you do this like little spot dodge thing. And you can use the spot dodge to pick up weapons, and you can use the spot dodge to drop weapons. Or you can roll. You can roll into weapons to pick them up. So if I'm not carrying a weapon and I roll into a weapon, the player will automatically pick it up. But if I'm already carrying a weapon and I roll into another weapon, it doesn't pick it up. It doesn't automatically switch. If I want to pick up a different weapon than what I'm carrying right now, I would need to drop the weapon and then roll into the other one, or spot dodge into the other one. This is how it works currently. And I think this setup is perfect, except for dropping it. The only part that I think is bad is dropping it. I think it's too easy to drop your weapon, because spot dodging in place is too easy to do. And I don't want people to accidentally drop their weapon. What's the mechanical reason you would want to be unarmed? Why not just spot dodge next to another weapon to swap without dropping middle ground? That's a good question. And I think that if there was no reason to be unarmed, that would be fine. Then there wouldn't be a need to drop your weapon. But these are such good questions, by the way. Thank you for engaging in this conversation, because I need someone to talk to about this. I brainstorm all this stuff on my own, but talking about this is so good. So the reason why you would want to be unarmed is because destroying the weapon is how you heal. And right now, with this new setup, I have it set up so that you destroy weapons by just smacking it. And if you smack a weapon and destroy it, it'll drop a heart, and that's how you heal. But for a while, I had it set up where you destroyed weapons by holding the weapon, and you'd shatter it while you're holding it. Why would you want to destroy your only weapon? And as you say that, I really got to run before you do. Why would you want to destroy your only weapon? Well, so you always have a sword. You're never completely unarmed. When you don't have a weapon in hand, you would use your sidearm. And that's important because, let's say I'm all the way down to 1 HP. And, this sphere doesn't have any armor. How can I hurt myself? I don't know how to hurt myself. Oh, I can hurt with the fire. So let's say that I'm all the way down to 1 HP like this. To answer your question of why would I want to drop my weapon? The reason why is because the spear has no more armor, and I'm almost dead. If I take one more hit from any enemy, I'm gonna die. So I would want to drop my weapon because I want to destroy it and heal. Okay, so that's why you would want to destroy your weapon. Because now instead of having no armor and 1 health, I now have my sidearm sword as my weapon, but I have 2 health. And if I find another weapon somewhere else, I can pick that one up, and the new weapon will have armor. You think it's too easy to accidentally attack a weapon on the ground? That is a fair concern. That's a fair concern. So, how about this? It's too easy to accidentally attack it. You're right. It is too easy to attack a weapon on the ground. It's so funny because all the pieces are here. It's just, I think I need a dedicated pickup button is the problem. Oh, but it's so cool. I love dodging into the sword to pick it up. That's so awesome. And it feels natural too, by the way. I've been playing it a lot. Another thing to make you not sleep well, basically. The only control I'm missing is dropping the weapon. Because picking up a weapon while you're unarmed, I think that's fine. There just needs to be a way to drop the weapon, but it has to be not accidental, because dodging in place it's too easy. Maybe holding it in place? What if you roll and hold the roll button to throw after completing? Yeah, I thought about that idea. So like you continue holding it, and that's how you used to sacrifice weapons. You used to sacrifice weapons by just holding down the dodge button, and then that's what you would sacrifice the weapon with. But I think it works really well hitting the weapon while it's on the ground. I think it just makes sense. Oh, if you attack the weapon on the ground, maybe just don't have the heart despawn in full health, it would be good. That's a smart idea. That's a really cool idea. So the idea was, if you're already full health, let's make it so that when I kill that spear, oh my god, look at that. This is bugged. That was weird. Make it so that the heart just drops to the ground, and it just sits on the ground until I need it. That's an interesting idea. I do like that idea. You can put a breaking function for equipped weapon instead of dropping it and then doing it, even breaking it in enemy's face to deal more damage. It's funny because that's how the game was. I think you're right, and that's how I had the game set up. I had the game set up, like if you watch some of my older videos, the game was set up so that like you sacrificed your weapon while you're holding it to heal, and that would also like explode all the enemies around you. So if all this procedure already required being in a safe situation and just put dropping on some long hold. The thing is, it doesn't require a safe situation, because here's a scenario. I'm using my weapon, I'm fighting this enemy right here, and I'm like, oh yeah, fight's going crazy. Oh no, I took damage. Oh shoot. Okay, let me try that again. I accidentally rolled into the fire. you can't roll into the fire, otherwise you put it out. Let's try that again. And this time I'm not gonna roll into the fire. So I'm fighting, I take some damage, fighting some more, and I'm fighting. So the question now is, how do I heal? How do I heal? So in the current Steam demo, you heal by holding down the pickup button for a few seconds, and then it destroys your weapon and you heal completely. In this version right now, I have it set up so that you heal by dropping your weapon and then smacking it to get a heart. While you're still live streaming, what time is it there? It's 10:20 in the morning. I live in the US. Or elemental weapons like torch or some magic staff. Oh, basic weapons, just hearts, magic. Yeah, different weapons could have different shatter effects. Cool idea. So, keep the dodge roll pickup, but dedicated button to sacrifice. So should I have a dedicated button to sacrifice or a dedicated button to drop? Also, how do I switch weapons? That's the other thing. Is that if I can't drop my weapon, how do I switch weapons? So let's say the greatsword's here. I'm holding the torch, and right now in my current setup, if you dodge into it while you're holding a weapon, you're not gonna automatically pick up the weapon. Instead, you have to drop the torch and then go pick it up. Which I think that's nice, because I don't want people to accidentally pick up the wrong weapon. Like if I'm fighting this enemy with the greatsword, I don't want to accidentally roll into the torch and then pick it up, because that's not something I want. Instead, it makes more sense that if I want to switch to the torch, I would need to actually drop my greatsword and then go pick up the torch and then use that to fight. But couldn't it be an issue if you're fighting near a dropped weapon? Yeah. And you can smack it out accidentally? Yeah. I think that's kind of intentional, right? Because if a weapon gets destroyed because it's in the middle of a battlefield, I think that kind of makes sense that it would get hit. Like I'm fighting this enemy and then I smack the weapon. Like I don't really think that's too much of an issue. But I see what you're saying. I feel like games nowadays that get popular die out pretty quick, unlike other games like Stardew Valley that stay relevant for a long time. I think that's generally true. Like, well, creating a timeless game is really tough. And also, that's the other thing, is that it's the same with music. You could say, like, oh, music in the 80s was so much better. Like, look at all these 80s songs that are so good. But if you actually time traveled back to the 1980s, you would hear all kinds of crap on the radio. There's tons of terrible songs that came out in the 80s, and they played on the radio, but we don't hear about them today because they were bad. We only hear about the good ones. So you could say 80s music is timeless, but it's really just the timeless songs from the 80s that you hear about. And it's the same with video games. You could say that, sure, all the games coming out today are like crap AAA garbage, but in 10 years, we're going to look back and we're only going to remember the good games that came out. We're not going to remember all the bad ones. So Stardew Valley is one of those timeless games. It came out like 6 or so years ago, and it's still really popular today because it's just a really timeless good game. But you could come up with plenty of games that came out at the same time that we just completely forgot about. We just don't even remember that they existed because they weren't Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley was just so damn good. That's all that it comes down to. TK40K says drop and sacrifice button same, but long press versus short press. Yeah, that's what it is in the current Steam demo. In the current Steam demo, that's how it is. Is you press the button once to drop it, or maybe you have to long press it. I can't remember what the Steam demo is actually like. Survivorship bias, yeah, exactly. Actually, let's go ahead and play the Steam demo because I have it. I have Moonshire on this computer. Whew. It is hard. It is hard going back to this version of the game. It's so big. It is so big, and the colors are very green. So let's play around with the. So this game has, or this version has a dedicated pickup button. When I press the pickup button, I do this. When I dodge in place, nothing happens. So really, actually, the most recent version of the game, I just moved the pickup button from a button to dodge in place. Update the demo, please. I'm working on it. I agree. I need to update the demo. The demo I'm working on right now is so different. It is vibrant, kind of like my childhood vision. Yeah, kind of. So the way that you drop weapons, so there's a dedicated pickup button in this version of the game. You can dodge, and then there's a dedicated pickup button, so you press pickup to drop it. You press pickup to pick it up. And you can't accidentally hit it. It's like an intangible thing. You can't roll into it either. And you switch weapons by, you just walk up to it and press the pickup button, you'll switch to the other weapon. That works. But it doesn't work on you until Mac, I know. I'll get that fixed in this update. And then, if I want to heal... Am I able to die? Yeah, I am. So if I want to heal, you do that by, instead of short pressing the pickup button, you hold it, and then it sacrifices the weapon you're holding, and it heals you. Change the attack button, have the interact button also be the pickup button maybe, holding it down shatters the weapon. That's what it is in the Steam demo, and the Steam demo does work fine. But there's drawbacks, because multiple people have reported that even after I taught them how to shatter their weapon, it wasn't clear to them, or like they forgot about it, or they forgot how to do it. Because it does require you to hold down the animation stick. Yeah, I love it. It's so cool. I do love that animation. If I could somehow keep that, that'd be nice. Because that's less cool than this version of the game. Oh, look how much nicer this version looks. Oh my gosh, look how much better this looks. Oh, I love it. I'm so excited for this new version of the game. It looks way better. If you can shatter a weapon by holding it, you could end up with no weapons to use. Well, yeah, when you have no weapons to use, you always have your sword. The unarmed weapon is always a sword. You're always going to have some way to attack. It's kind of like Kirby, because in Kirby, you don't need a copy ability to fight. You can just use unarmed and then use your sucking ability to beat stuff. The alternative... I don't know. I go back and forth on what I should do here so often. It's unreal. Love the updated version. Thank you. Is it still always the red robe when you die, no matter what color your character actually is? I think I fixed that. Let me see. So if I die as Blue Boy... It's gonna look weird, but I think it still works. Yeah, it works. It fixed. Alright, I fixed it, I should say. Does the telescope work? It's used for an opening cutscene. Should I show... I'm not gonna show the opening cutscene because it's too good. I'm gonna save it for when the update comes out. How do GUI and framework engines work? They are... the two hardest parts of developing with a game framework is UI and level design. So level design is painful because I have to use a tool like this, and I have all these markers, and it's a pain. But GUI is also a pain because all of the UI is custom coded by me, and it's a mess. It is a mess. This file is 2,700 lines long. That's unbelievable. It's so stupid. But yeah, to answer your question, it's all custom coded and it's not very easy. There are frameworks or libraries to help with making GUI stuff in Love 2D, but personally, I like kind of custom coding it myself. That's basically how I'm feeling. I like that you can destroy your weapon in battle just by hitting it. It's easy to remember, but also higher stakes. Yet the hitting it in battle or the sacrificing it by hitting it, it makes more sense in universe. So the idea of like sacrificing it by holding like shooting it upwards, that's cooler aesthetically, but it just doesn't make as much sense. It makes a lot more sense. Like, I have this sword, it makes a lot more sense that if I want to heal, I just go up to a weapon, I hit it. Like, that makes more sense than, instead, in my Steam version, if I want to heal, like, let's say that I'm low on health right now, and I want to use this torch to heal. The way that I would heal is I walk up to it, I pick it up, and then I hold down the pickup button, and then sacrifice it. While instead, in this new version, I just walk up to it, and I hit it, and I have a heart, and that's it. So they have pros and cons. It's just, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. It's so tough. Why did I choose Love 2D over Mono Game? It's just because I like Love 2D more. Love 2D is a little bit more lightweight. It's a little bit simpler to use, but Mono Game does have more features, so it's pros and cons. And also, C# is probably a better language for game development. I could see that also being a reason why people choose Mono Game. I love that indie is finally viewed better than companies. Well, I hope that trend continues. The demo animation feels like a really sick critical hit animation. I think that to help with that, I can just make this animation better, because like that's pretty wimpy. Hitting that torch, that's pretty wimpy. I can make it like big and crazy and add some screen shake and add a bunch of wildness, and maybe you could heal more or upgrade it. Yeah. The content pipeline is so annoying. Yeah, Crown Sheep, that's exactly why... I think that's the biggest point of contention for why I prefer Love 2D, because in Love 2D, I just have all of these images, and they're just images, and the images get loaded into the game directly. While with Mono Game, I have to load all these images into the content pipeline, which converts them into a compatible file, and then you run the game using that compatible file. It's annoying. It's just an annoying process. It's not the end of the world. It's just if I needed to do that, it would be fine. It's just annoying. That's all it comes down to. Do you have drops from destroying crates? Yeah, some of the crates have loot, and it's predefined, and it's on a timer too, so you can't like mindlessly farm stuff. Let's go to here. Whoops. Same with the trees. So you can collect seeds from the trees, and then if you come back here in 10 minutes, this tree will have fruit on it again. And by the way, we're wrapping up stream soon. It's 10:30 my time, which is when I go get my food. But to answer your question about the crates, like this crate has gold in it, and then if I come back here in 10 minutes, the crate will have gold in it again. So it's like it's like re-exploring previous areas has some benefit to it because the resources respawn after a given amount of time. Please show the opening cutscene. Nope, I'm not going to because it's still being worked on. It's really good though. It's way better than the current opening cutscene. It's awesome. So yeah, that's what it comes down to. And we are about at the end of stream. It is 10:33. We're actually past when I do it. You'll be able to see the opening cutscene in a couple weeks because 100% certain the update will be out before the end of the year. I told Wolf that we're gonna start testing in 1 week. And I think that we'll be able to have the game out within a couple weeks after that. So before the end of the year for sure. Have I fixed the fan? Yeah, I did fix the fan. It's a little jank, but it doesn't crash the game anymore. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. But that's going to wrap up stream for today. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for joining the stream for yet another Moonshire Monday. I will be back next week. I have been doing really good at being consistent with these streams, and I don't plan to break that streak. So thank you all so much for being here. Thank you, Prosto. Thank you, Declan, Kerblin, Defected, Leovlin. Thank you, Ray Butler, Pedro, Turtle. I will see you all next week. Oh, whoops. I will see you all next week. Bye, everyone.